USTEC 100. And in fact, the USTEC 100 was a very, very profitable asset for us last week, as we were buying this asset throughout the week, as we had a common demand platform where price action has been finding buying opportunity in this market. If you remember vividly, that 15,350 area was that key point where we've been seeing buy pressure resume in this market, and of course we were able to take advantage of our bullish opportunities around that area. And for those who are part of our profitable journey last week, well done to you guys. Now, in anticipation of the New York session today, how are we planning to position ourselves ahead of the New York session? Now, the first thing I'm doing here is to scale up into the 4 hours time frame, where I was able to identify, hold on a second, I think it's the daily time frame. I think, okay, yes, it's the daily time frame. So I started from the daily time frame to identify what is really going on in this market, trying to understand the nature of price action, at least since the beginning of this year. And if you have been with us in this community since the beginning of the year, you would remember that this we have been buying the USTEC 100, taking advantage of higher highs, higher lows in this market to capitalize on that bullish move. Now, you could look at the structure. I was able to identify a couple of trend lines. In fact, I have 3 trend lines here, where the major trend line is this thick one on your screen right here, after which we saw the deviation from that ascending trend line happened in the month of March. Then we saw this one right here. Then again, we witnessed another deviation which started in the month of April. And in fact, that is the trend line we have been using to support this bullish momentum in the last couple of months now, and which of course is going to be one of the parameters we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for this week. Now, with that being said here, things became a little bit more interesting during the second half of this month, after which you will see how the 15,350, which was a barrier for buyers at some point in the month of June, we saw how that level was broken to the upside during the second week of this month, to give us a signal that buyers are getting stronger in this particular market. Now, with this scenario here, as usual, whenever we have a breakout of a key structure, such as this one we have here, we expect a retracement back into the structure, where the continued buy pressure around that area would incite an uptrend continuation. Remember, this was our platform for buying opportunity last week, as we saw continued retest of the 15,350 level. Now, with this situation here, the question is this uptrend that we've witnessed so far going to continue in such a way that it will lead to the breakout of the 15,950, or are we going to witness a situation where this range that we saw here, remember price action has been caught within this range in the last couple of weeks now, could break down to the downside to incite a sell-off, where we might be looking at any of this ascending trend line as our TP target for any sell-off that happens in this market. Now, to answer this question, we would need to take a further dissection of the lower time frame, where we want to see how participant in the market is reacting to the structure. And I think I was able to identify something on the 4 hours time frame. Okay, nothing here yet, so we just need to scale down into our hold on a second, I need to include this trend line, as this is going to be a major determinant of price action for this week. This trend line here is going to be a major one. So let's scale back down into the 1 hour time frame, and here we go, right on the 1 hour time frame. And this was what I was able to spot this morning while trying to dissect what the market participants are trying to do using the trails they left behind on the chart. Now, if you look at how the week has started here, you will see that the week started on a strong bearish note, as we saw price action started the week at around the 15,810 level, which happens to be the highest point for this week, as we saw this impulsive bearish move bringing price into the 15,690 level. Now, with this situation here, we have a range where price action is currently playing at or trading at this point in time. And in fact, you know how we do it in this community when we have this kind of flat channel. What we want to be doing here is to wait for either a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. However, there's something interesting going on in this market since price action tested that 15,690, which happens to be our support line for this week. Now, one thing that has happened here is that we have been noticing some higher lows here, giving us a clue that a bullish momentum is gradually building up behind the scenes for this week, which of course we want to be part of. Now, how do we capitalize on this move? Well, within this channel already, if we can capitalize on a bullish opportunity, that means we can be part of a bullish move even before the breakout of the 15,810 level happens, after which we can maximize the potential of scooping in more profits on this single move. Now, when we identify higher lows, the next second thing we do is to connect the series of higher lows so that we can have a trend line to work with for the week. Now, to connect the series of higher lows, we need our line chart, which of course will give us the privilege of having specific points of connection. So we already have a trend line, which of course we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for this week. Now, I would like to thicken this a little bit so that we can emphasize its importance based on this current market structure. So do some little adjustment so that we can capture the pivot lows in this market. Then in addition to the ascending trend line is this level here, which of course has been a major determinant of price action since the early hours of today, and that is the 15,750 level. So I'll give this a different color. Let's give it a wine color to differentiate its importance and even differentiate it from the support and resistance level of this channel. So we have the 15,750. So you want to be marking out this level on your chart, as we are going to be needing it to guide our trading activities for today. So let's give it a wine color. All right. So let's go back into the chart. So what we are going to be doing here is very, very simple. So we have two parameters now that we are going to be using. In fact, we have three parameters we are going to be using to guide a bullish momentum here. And one of the parameters here is the 15,750, where I want to see price action break out, retest that level to give me an opportunity to buy. Then secondly, we have this ascending trend line, which of course we just identified now. So what this simply means is that as long as price action remains above the ascending trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position, while we also look out for more opportunities to buy. Then thirdly, we have this resistance line, which happens to be the highest point where price action has been for this week, where a further breakout of this level will welcome more opportunities to capitalize on this potential uptrend. So that is how we are going to be capitalizing on any bullish momentum on the USTEC 100. So for the sake of clarity, let me give a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So I want to see a breakout happen. So you scale down to your lower time frame as soon as the breakout happen. Look out for retest of structure confirming that sellers are finding it difficult to drop below the ascending trend line. And this, of course, will reflect on the chart as continued buy pressure above or around the 15,750, where we want to join a bullish move, and a further breakout of the 15,810 level will welcome more opportunities to buy the USTEC 100. So that is how we are going to be buying the USTEC 100, at least for the first half of this week. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities, you know how we do it in this community. We also want to keep tabs with the potentials the sellers also have in this particular market. Now, if we are going to consider selling at this point in time, remember I told you that we have a range where price action has been trapped within at this point in time. And I told you that we only need a breakdown of that support line to give us a signal that we are likely going bearish. And in fact, I would appreciate a retest of structure to give me confirmations that sellers are good, are going to be dictating the pace going forward. Now, with this situation here, I'm of the opinion that we can actually capitalize on a bearish move even before the breakdown of that support line at the 15,690 happen. And how are we going to do that? Now, remember, we have an ascending trend line which we identified earlier, which is supporting this bullish momentum since the beginning of this week. Now, if we are going to be joining a bearish momentum even before the breakdown of that support line at the 15,690 happens, we want to see price action break down that ascending trend line, where a retest of that structure like the ascending and the 15,750 happens. Then at this point, we want to see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above this 15,750, which will give us the signal we need to join a bearish move. And if we can join at that point, then a sell stop order below the 15,690 will be a beautiful opportunity to maximize the potential of this bearish move. Then we can be aiming at any of the ascending trend lines we identified on the higher time frame as our TB target for the sell position. So that is how we are going to be anticipating either a buy or sell position on the USTEC 100. So you want to be marking out these very important levels, as this is where our center of focus is going to be for today. So if you have any questions regarding this current setup in any way, feel free to let me know in the comment section.